Hi, my name is David Sloan, and welcome back to the Cameraman Lectures. This is Lecture 7, addressing Cameraman episodes 22 through 25 and the end of Season 2. So, now that we're at the end of Season 2, we've just hit the biggest series of twists in the Cameraman story so far, and one of the big turning points of the story. I don't even want to say very much about what happened in the lecture because I want those moments to hit as hard as possible for anyone who hasn't read it yet. My hope is that when readers encounter it and when they happen, that impact is earned. And if you've made it that far in the story, and by the way, thank you for making it that far in the story, I'm so glad you have, then you've invested a lot of time in the slow burn of their experience under siege at Dura Mountain, anticipating that as Omer got closer and closer to finishing putting together the Palacrum, that their situation would somehow resolve. And it does, and if you predicted how, then please give me financial advice. A few key pieces of information get revealed during these episodes. One, you find out that there is more to the Kevin Dane side of the story than Nancy was initially forthcoming about. Remember that when she originally told the story of the escape and the role of Darius and Omer and Kevin's role in that story, she cast Kevin as someone who communicated with Omer, made friends with Omer, and escaped with the group, but was kind of a jerk and not considered important by Darius and was likely dead. In these episodes, we learned that he was likely a bit more instrumental than that in the escape and in the events that transpired after they left. And we're going to learn a bit more about exactly what transpired once that escaped group left Dura Mountain. Another key detail about Kevin Dane that Nancy left out in her original story was that Kevin was married to another Dura Mountain inmate, Lacey Dane. They were married years before they both arrived at Dura Mountain, and they had an extremely tumultuous relationship that formally ended in what Darius called the Great Dane Split. We don't know how yet, but their relationship after that continued on in what may have been the most toxic X versus X relationship in history, ending finally with their internment at Dura Mountain. Years later, Kevin escaped, leaving Lacey behind to wither away under the effects of Alzheimer's disease. Now, you shouldn't for a moment think that you've heard the last about that story, so stay tuned. A third detail that was left out was that before Kevin escaped, he was experimenting with virtual reality. And clever readers who have read Brackets prior to reading this will have noticed the name Cheng Zong related to the virtual reality brand. We find that Kevin was using this technology to conduct experiments, presumably linked to what Omer was describing to him. And he hid a lot of his findings and his ideas and the things that he was building from Darius, literally underwater, or virtually underwater. And then he locked that information up so that nobody could access it, and then Milo was able to go back and unlock it. But the journey that Milo takes in Kevin's virtual world will be very important in future episodes and gives a few hints about the plans that Kevin formulated while he was at Dura Mountain. I will tell you that when I initially shared this story, the full novel of Cameraman, with some pilot readers, episode 25, and particularly the ending of episode 25, was a place where people really got mad at me for what appears to happen to one particular character. I can confirm for those readers who have gotten that far that what you probably think happened to that character is what happened. And I'm not sorry. It's what happened. We also get some new Denobulan phrases that and none of them of which I'm going to translate right now, because they will be translated in future episodes and they're going to be important later on. One of those phrases was "wa de nobile, wa fataz." This is what Omer kept repeating and repeating. It's as ominous as it sounds. We also get the keywords gasoaden, gasoaja. That's also something that will get translated later, but you can infer from the use of that phrase that this pair of keywords can be used to declare that you're someone who is a friend of Omer. And finally, we encounter the word acelerum, which you can infer as being something key to Kevin's plans, but I'm not going to say anything about that yet. I am very excited for you to learn the meanings of those phrases, but you're going to have to wait just a little bit longer. In season 3, things are going to shift up a little bit. You're going to experience a shift in the perspective, as the ramifications of what happened are necessarily going to have to take place or be described from another point of view. And there's still lots more to come, so keep your eyes open. Going into season 3, you never know what you're going to see.